Well, good morning, guys. It is a beautiful Thursday morning, July 3rd, 2025, and good to be with you this morning. I got a lot to talk about, but like I said yesterday, I want to really cover fluoride today, a big topic of conversation. And of course, RFK Jr. recently visited Oklahoma and helped activate the MOHA movement, Make Oklahoma Healthy Again. And it's very much needed since we are ranked, I believe, 47th in the nation right now when it comes to overall health. Definitely an area that needs to be improved. And we'll talk about that, what RFK Jr. said when he was here in the state. First, I want to kick this off with a little word from the Word, okay? So this is coming from Psalm 119:73. Now, if you know about Psalm 119, you know that it is focused on the Word of God. And it's I think it's the longest chapter in the Bible, very long. This comes from verse 73. Let me read it real quickly before we get started. Your hands have made me and fashioned me. Give me understanding that I may learn your commandments. And just a reminder where we came from, that we were created. Our Creator gives us our inalienable rights, gives us life. It says that in Him we live and move and have our being. And so you would be wise to remember where you came from and who sustains you. And I spend time with the Lord every morning just for that purpose, to remind myself we have time in the Word together as a family. We have time in prayer together as a family, because it's like air. You absolutely must have it. You must have Him. And I love what it says here in verse 73, Psalm 119:73. Give me understanding that I may learn your commandments. And this is my prayer, even this morning, is for understanding. And, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, those three things that are highlighted in the book of Proverbs. It's not just about accumulation of facts. It's not just about saying what wants to be heard, but it's saying what needs to be said, and with an understanding of it. And so this is our pursuit, is true understanding. And when it comes to politics, there's so many things that are convoluted. That's the nature of politics, it seems, is to make things so complex that, especially in today's day, the average person checks out because they say, man, this is just beyond me. It's beyond my ability to comprehend. So I'm going to leave it to the professionals. Well, that's the biggest mistake we can make. I mean, we are the professionals. We are the ones who are held responsible, I believe, by God to steward the great freedom He's given us. And so we need understanding. And what I found is that it's actually not that hard. It's been made difficult. It's been made complex by a system that's been out of control for a long time. But when we return to the fundamentals, it gets very clear. We're going to talk about fluoride in water today. And when you start looking at the facts here, the details, I think it's very clear. And the answer is very easy. What needs to be done? I think that states are waking up to this and saying, you know what? I think it's time for a change. Why have we been doing this way for so long? So thankful for God's word this morning. Thankful for His grace, and just pray that you would know Him in a real and living way. We had a long night last night recording. I've said this before. I'm about to release a new show that I'm pretty excited about, where we are diving deep and drilling down on individual issues. It'll be a paneled show where I have me and 4 guests who are experts in a field. And because we're going to drill down on it, pursuing answers to critical problems, I'm calling it Drill Baby Drill. And once you see the setting for it, you'll really appreciate that. So I got a big picture of Trump with his fist raised high, that historic moment when he said, fight, fight, fight. So that's right behind us. And that's what we're doing, is we are drilling down, pursuing the answers to these critical questions. And I'm calling that Drill Baby Drill. Just recorded about 3 hours last night. And we focused on DHS, the Department of Human Services here in Oklahoma, in particular, child welfare. And we heard stories from 3 different parents and step parents about their horrendous interaction with DHS and how due process has been completely violated, how the judicial system has been corrupted, the incestuous, self-protecting system that exploits children, treating them often like commodities only for financial gain. And we are exposing it. So get ready, because we're going to be releasing a very hard-hitting episode. It'll be the first official episode of Drill Baby Drill. And I'm telling you, we're coming at it. The people that I have on are not playing around. Their families have been torn apart by the system, and they're not holding back. So they're speaking the truth. They're naming names, and that is all coming out here pretty soon. So get ready for that. There has been lawsuits filed, grand jury petitions filed, and so the people are rising up. They've had enough. Okay. And this is what excites me. This is the message of my campaign, is empowering the people, prioritizing the family. And I'm telling you what, it is contagious. I think it's what is in all of us. We are all tired of the status quo. We're tired of just giving into the system. So it's time for a change. Justin, I see you there this morning. Man, I'd love to talk to you some more. So, and about the tribal stuff as well. I mean, I've had even since yesterday on the live stream yesterday, talking about tribal issues. I've had so many great conversations, giving so much more enlightenment about the tribal dynamics. And so, yeah, please, we all have to work together, collaborate. Like I said, seeking understanding. I'm not here to just say I have all the answers. I'm here to say, hey, I'm available to listen and collaborate and discuss, so we can collectively find out what is the best path forward. How do we maximize freedom and protect the innocent? It's very critical. So I'm going to shift gears here, and we're talking about fluoride. Okay. In general, we're talking about health, which, if you know me, you know that's a big priority for me. I worked as a personal trainer. I say worked. I owned a couple of gyms and trained a lot of people, hundreds of people, and helped them achieve better health. I helped so many people get off of medications and even avoid surgery. So tremendous testimonies about, you know, the impact of the basics of just proper nutrition, proper rest, proper exercise, and how that completely reversed so many conditions that would have kept people on medication long term, that may have forced them into surgeries, that who knows what might happen after that. So many of the issues we're facing today are preventative. And this is why I am enthusiastic about RFK Jr. Do I agree with everything? Absolutely not. But his approach to health and his willingness to call out the system and promote radical change, I am all about it. We've got to get back to what he emphasizes, personal responsibility. And I was glad to see that he came here to Oklahoma. I have a quick clip here I'm going to play highlighting his time here. And again, activating this MOHA movement here in Oklahoma. So here's a quick clip from
Uncle was president. We spent zero on chronic disease in this country. There weren't any treatment. Today, we spend $1.7 trillion, and it's rising. Those expenditures are rising at 2% faster than our economy. This is an existential threat to our country in every way. Our national security. 75% of American kids cannot qualify for military service. The fertility rate is plummeting. teenage boys today, American boys, have half the testosterone of 65-year-old men. Half.
So, we're talking about the issue of the gender dilemma. That this, I believe, is fundamentally a spiritual issue, but most definitely a mental health issue. And then also, because of what he just highlighted, which has been talked about a lot, talking about the increased amounts of estrogen in our water. When we look at the recent studies that indicate the birth control that's being flushed down the toilets and in the water that is now recycled and not only sprayed on crops that the cows eat and then we eat the beef, but also recycled in our water that is, it's quote unquote cleaned up and repurposed, and then we drink that. What's happening to our testosterone levels, to our estrogen levels? Well, like he's saying, there is a direct impact to the testosterone in young men. And what is this doing to the overall culture, the feminization of our men in America? It's a very real thing. And like I said, I believe fundamentally it's a spiritual thing. It's a mental health issue, but also when you look at the physiology of this, it can be directly connected to the contaminants in our water. He goes on to say more.
The sperm count. Our girls are reaching puberty 6 years early. So we have to do something different. And, I came into this campaign saying, we've got to do something. I had 11 brothers and sisters, and I had about 70 first cousins. I never saw a case of diabetes. I didn't know anybody with a food allergy growing up, with a peanut allergy. I didn't know anybody who had autism. And I was at the spear tip of the movement for rights for people with intellectual disabilities. My aunt, Eunice Shriver, started Special Olympics. I worked in Special Olympics when I was 8 years old as a hunter and a coach before it was even named Special Olympics. It was called Camp Shriver. And I never saw kids who look like this. I walked through an airports yesterday. I see all these children and I can look at them and see the inflammation and the mitochondrial dysfunction. And, during COVID, we had the highest COVID death rate of any country in the world. We had 16% of the COVID deaths in this country, and we only have 4.2% of the world's population. And when CDC is asked about why did we have so many COVID deaths, they say, well, it's not our fault. We just have the sickest people in the world. We have the highest chronic disease burden. And according to CDC, the average American who died from COVID had 3.8 chronic diseases.
Wow.
So it was chronic disease that was killing these people.
Chronic disease. We have the highest chronic disease burden, he said. And these chronic diseases, like he also said, are mostly preventable. When you're talking about diabetes, now I'm talking about type 2 diabetes and heart disease, which are the leading causes of death, especially here in Oklahoma. These things are entirely preventable. And so I hope that I can give a message of hope this morning to many of you. And, sometimes you feel like you've said it a million times and there's no need to say it anymore. And then someone replies, hey, thank you. That's the first time I've heard that. And so I think it's worth repeating that many of these things are preventable. And just like he mentioned his uncle, JFK, he believed that this was a national emergency issue, that the health of the nation is a national emergency issue. How many young people are qualified for the standards of the military? Because, we don't want to lower the bar to make it easier for entrance, but we want to keep the standards high and encourage people to reach those standards. But, overall, the American public is so overweight and obese. I actually saw a picture the other day of, and I wish I should have pulled it up, but it showed the fattest man in the world back in the early 1900s. And he actually looked like someone that you just see walking around the street today. And so our acceptance of what we consider obese, that standard has been lowered quite a bit. And I loved a great initiative that JFK had. It was he was working on an initiative to bring elite physical training to our public schools. And man, I would love to get that back. And he was not able to get momentum. I think that if he were to have lived longer, we would have seen a national standard across the board in our public school system that held that offered top tier physical training for all of the students. And so I would love to see that in Oklahoma. I was actually working on an initiative here in Oklahoma when I was in the Senate that would require physical testing of all of the students. And the purpose of this was just at a baseline level to give some feedback about the student's health. And of course, the politics got in the way, where I voted against someone's bill, so they retaliated and would not hear my bill. They were in leadership. So, unfortunately that junk happens, but I would love to see that here in Oklahoma, to raise the standards, to emphasize physical health and physical fitness, because I believe indeed it is a national emergency issue. When RFK Jr. was here in Oklahoma, Stitt, of course, announced the MOHA initiative, and well, this is what he had to say here.
I'm going to sign an executive order that continues to promote health in our state. I'm instructing the Oklahoma Department of Health to stop recommending fluoride in our water.
So a big announcement there that he is directing the Oklahoma Department of Health to stop recommending fluoride in our water. Now, let me read you a bit on what RFK Jr. has to say about fluoride. He's been obviously a vocal critic of fluoride in drinking water, and he claims it has significant health risks. And he actually describes fluoride as industrial waste and associated with issues like arthritis, bone fractures, bone cancer. And he's highlighted quite a bit IQ loss, but neurodevelopmental disorders and thyroid disease. And it goes back to even November 2024, and he posted on X that a Trump administration would advise all U.S. water systems to remove fluoride starting January 20th, 2025. Well, we haven't seen that happen yet, but he is working intently on the states and in states to see this change. And, he cites studies often like the National Toxicology Program meta-analysis that claims 52 of 55 studies showed a decrease in children's IQ with increased fluoride exposure. 52 of 55 studies from the National Toxicology Program meta-analysis, a decrease in children's IQ with increased fluoride exposure. How this can be just dismissed is amazing. But he is pushing, of course, for states to ban watered fluoridation. And he looks at Utah's ban in this year. And of course, Florida recently banned. And then Oklahoma is taking a bit of a weaker stance. I celebrate Stitt's move here, but it's weak compared to Utah and Florida, where it's an all-out statewide ban of fluoride added to the water. Of course, like you just heard, Governor Stitt saying he will direct the Oklahoma Department of Health to stop recommending it. And I know what he's wanting to do. He's wanting to prioritize local control. And I think he has stated that he wants to ensure that local communities can, based on the feedback from constituents and science, he said, they can still add fluoride to the water. But, I agree with DeSantis more in this case when he calls it forced medication. Are there benefits? Mainly dental. Are there benefits of having fluoride in the water? Well, possibly, but are there other ways to get that benefit? And I believe the answer is yes. I believe that one, if they believed in fluoride and the benefit to reducing cavities and helping dental health, they could get fluoride another way. And so whenever you force it into the water supply because it has some benefits while also ignoring the possible threats, then you're really removing choice from people. They have no choice. Of course, they can just not drink the water, but I agree with DeSantis's position here that we're removing choice. We're forcing it onto everyone. And if someone wants to add fluoride, they can add fluoride, but let's not add fluoride to everybody's water for them. You're just removing informed consent. So I would like to see a stronger position here in Oklahoma when it comes to fluoride in the water, where I would follow. Unfortunately, in many cases here in Oklahoma, we follow the lead of other states. I would like to lead the way a few times, but follow the lead of Florida that is saying we're going to have an all-out state ban. And it's a strong stance. It's a necessary stance, especially considering the science. I understand local control. And if you know me, I prioritize and emphasize local control. But when it comes to things that are toxic to people and have a real threat, then I think that is a good position for a state to step in and say, we're not going to allow it. So let me just play this here. There was more from Governor Stitt and RFK Jr. This is a recent Fox interview.
Parents need to decide, because the science is very clear on fluoride. The National Toxicity Program issued a report, a meta review of all the science on it in August that said there's a direct inverse correlation between the amount of fluoride in your water and your loss of IQ. So even small increments of fluoride cause loss of IQ, and particularly in babies, in neonates, and in pre-birth, if the mother's exposed. And those children are getting no benefit because they don't have teeth. So, and it really should be up to the parents. We have fluoride available. Fluoride made a lot of sense in the 1940s, but today we have fluoride in our toothpaste. We have it available in mouthwash. You can get it. The benefit is topical. There's no systemic benefits. So when you drink it, it's not giving you an additional benefit. So it makes sense, and it ought to be up to the parents. The government shouldn't be saying you should take a neurotoxin. And there's all other kinds of other bad impacts from fluoride. It reduces bone density, and it calcifies your thyroid. 1 out of every 8 women in this country have thyroid problems now. Oh, the balance, when on balance, is probably something that we want to leave to the individual rather than have the state mandated.
100%. Come on, okay. I mean, absolutely. Let's not mandate it. And again, Stitt made the announcement that he would direct the Oklahoma Department of Health to no longer recommend it. So the recommendation wouldn't come from the state. It would be up to the local municipalities to decide if they added fluoride. But, I think in light of the science and the direct threat to the neurotoxic threat and all of the other direct negative health implications there, I think it requires us to remove it completely. And then, like he said, the benefit of fluoride is purely topical. So with mouthwash, toothpaste, which anyone then can access that and still get those benefits without the added risk to when ingested. It's not made to ingest. It's not made to go internally. So yes, I think need to step that up here in Oklahoma. I'm looking at some of my notes on this. Yeah, like I mentioned, Florida, it was the second state to ban the fluoride. And the FDA is saying it plans to remove some fluoride drugs for children from market. And let's see. Sid also ordered the officials to submit a written report of their findings to him and lawmakers within 90 days. And we'll see if this goes any further, what this report says that is going to be submitted to Governor Stitt, and if he takes this further. I hope he does. But yeah, right now Utah and Florida are setting the precedent there, and I so appreciate RFK Jr.'s lead on this. Now, the critics of RFK, I think it's good to look at the opposing viewpoints here, and there are critics. They say that RFK Jr.'s stance on fluoride in water they're misleading and unsupported by robust scientific evidence. The American Dental Association and other health organizations assert that water fluoridation at current U.S. levels, which is 0.7 parts per million, is safe and effective for preventing tooth decay. And they point out that studies Kennedy cites, like the National Toxicology Program's meta-analysis, often involve fluoride concentrations far higher than those used in U.S. water systems, making them irrelevant to the debate. And the ADA, in a November 2024 statement, called his push to remove fluoride dangerous, warning it could increase dental disease, especially in underserved communities. But again, looking at the benefit of fluoride, it is purely topical, and it is available in other forms without adding it to our water supply. So that makes perfect sense. That is the way that needs to be charted by more states in the union. I'm glad that it is still left up to the states to decide this. And, I'm glad we're taking some kind of action here with Governor Stitt, but I think further action needs to be made. Let's see here. I'm looking at my clips I want to bring you this morning. Okay, so this is another big one concerning health. And of course, we've been watching the big, beautiful bill, and I haven't yet commented on that because it seems like it's changing so quickly and it's so robust. I want to focus primarily on things happening directly here in the state on these videos. So I haven't jumped into that conversation just yet. But of course, part of that conversation involves SNAP benefits. And I was happy to see here in Oklahoma that Governor Stitt said we're going to make some adjustments to our SNAP benefits.
You know, I want to be top 10 in everything we do, and that is also healthy families in the state of Oklahoma. So today, I'm proud to announce that the team at Oklahoma DHS has submitted a waiver for SNAP benefits in Oklahoma. So our tax dollars are not going to continue to fund foods that are making people sick.
Great move. We have to, again, what RFK Jr., I don't have the clip here for it, but he emphasized personal responsibility, and you just cannot get away from it. In the end, people will be who they decide to be, and we will have a nation and we will have a state that we decide we will have. And if we want a healthy state, it's going to be up to us to decide that. And that's going to happen at the most local level with self-governance, with personal responsibility. It's going to happen with our families to prioritize health in our households. That means you don't buy certain snacks. They're just not available anymore. That's how we operate here. We still go out for pizza and ice cream, and we'll get occasional snacks at the convenience store and things like that, but it's a rarity. It's not readily available in our house. And this is one way that we try to prioritize health. And this is going to have to happen even if none of these things are taken off the market. I mean, I so appreciate RFK's push to clean up our food supply, but in the end, it's up to you and I to not consume it, not consume the junk. I mean, a great way, if people are concerned about cavities increasing when you remove fluoride, is, just reduce your sugar content. That alone is going to help with cavities. But it's like we've developed a mentality of, we absolutely have to have, sugar. There's no way around it. We have to have sugar. So we need to counter that with additional fluoride in our water, which is going to make us sick, but at least we won't have cavities. It's a logic that breaks down. So we've got to take personal responsibility, and I really appreciate RFK emphasizing that. And back to the SNAP benefits. Of course, we do not need government-funded food products. I mean, we have got to return to understanding what food really is and the nutritional benefit to it. And if we are going to, I don't like government-funded food anyway, but if we're going to have it, let's make it real food. Let's make it food that's nutritious and actually benefits people. In doing that, you're going to promote a better, healthier society, hopefully reduce healthcare costs, and maybe even make healthcare more accessible. These all of these things are connected. So let me see here. I think that goes on to say more.
This waiver is on Secretary Brooke Rawlins' desk right now at the USDA, and we're asking that she allow us to take soda, candy, and confectionery items off of the SNAP list.
100%. I mean, there is no reason those should be on the SNAP list.
We're also going to work with the USDA to find more ways to promote healthy eating for families on SNAP benefits and to cause those dollars to go further. Eating healthy foods today is going to reduce healthcare spending and dietary related illnesses later on in life.
100%. This is the way forward, and this is the future, and I'm excited about that. We have to keep our foot on the pedal. We have to continue to push this. I personally, this is a priority for me, is promoting healthy families across the state of Oklahoma. And it's going to start with cleaning up our food supply. Of course, I'm going to push local as much as possible. I would love to see more people buying from their local farmers and ranchers. I mean, you're just not going to get better quality food than that. And to know where it came from and what kind of chemicals have been added or have not been added. And I try to avoid those that have chemicals on it at all. But I mean, these local farmers and ranchers are growing the best food you can buy. And I encourage you to do that. Go get connected. It's very easy to find a local farmer rancher who has great stuff available, great food available. And, buy your beef local, buy your produce and vegetables, fruits local. And if you're able at all, grow it yourself. I mean, we saw a resurgence of that during COVID with the backyard gardens. And I would encourage that is, hey, get out there, take some initiative, build a raised garden bed and start growing your own vegetables. You may not be where you can be self-sustaining and grow all the food you need for you and your family. We're out here. We moved out to the country a couple of years ago to be in a better position to do that. We bought some cattle. We've got gardens. We just harvested the corn. I say I didn't do any of it. So they harvested the corn the other day and got a great supply that was going to be, stored, and it'll last us for quite a while. But we're not self-sustaining entirely. We still go to the grocery store all the time, but it helps. And it's good to know that maybe in a time of desperation, you have that available. So I would encourage you to get back to that. Don't lose that. There was a big push for that during COVID, and it's obviously people have backed off of that. But I would encourage you to press in, and even what's beautiful are the community gardens where you collaborate together. And then connecting with the farmers and ranchers that already know how to do it. And guess what? Most of the time, they are more than happy to teach you as well. There's so many ways that we need to think outside the box, stop depending on government, stop trying to get more government programs to meet our needs, and just do it ourselves, because it can be done. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap up this morning. It's been so good. That's what I wanted to bring to you, is the update on fluoride and encourage you towards greater health. I'm going to press forward on this campaign. I want to remind you that July, I keep on saying June, July 7th, that's coming up. It's next Monday at 6:30 p.m., Vital Church in Chickasha, Oklahoma. That's going to be a volunteer meeting. We are focusing on Chickasha and Grady County as our big first initiative, big first push with the campaign. So join us out there if you want to be a part. It's going to be at Vital Church in Chickasha at 6:30 p.m. on July 7th. And then that following Monday on the 14th, we're going to have another one up in Oklahoma City. So if you can't make it all the way to Chickasha, we're going to come closer to you up in Oklahoma City at the Faith Center in, Great Faith Church off of Northwest Expressway. I don't have the address in front of me. Let me see if I can pull it up. But at the Great Faith Center in Oklahoma City, Northwest Expressway. Yeah, here's the address. Great Faith Church, 8921 Northwest Expressway, Oklahoma City. That's going to be July 14th, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Another volunteer meeting that I'd love to connect with you. I'll talk a little bit more about the vision for this campaign, and then we'll talk about the strategy to get the word out. So if you want to volunteer there, also, I am putting the word out for some keyboard warriors, some that are going to help us on social media. And maybe you're not able to go door knock, but if you're savvy with social media and technology, we want to connect with you as well. So send me a message at jake@jakemerrickforgovernor.com. jake@jakemerrickforgovernor.com. Then, of course, you can go to jakemerrickforgovernor.com and check out the website. I highlight some of my positions there, and that site will constantly be updated. I know there's already some technical glitches on there, so please just overlook that for now. We're working on it. And you can sign up to volunteer there. You can also offer an endorsement. So this thing is moving forward. The site just launched, and like I said, we're working on some technical stuff. So jump on. We are moving forward. We're excited about it. We're going to promote this health push across the nation. We're pushing for healthy families. Like I said, we just spent 3 hours talking about and recording a new show called Drill Baby Drill. We're drilling down on the issues, discovering solutions to Oklahoma problems. And we talked about DHS and child welfare. And man, what a conversation. We're exposing a lot, calling out names, and demanding change in the state of Oklahoma. So that's going to be a powerful show coming out here pretty soon. I'll let you know the details, but I appreciate you guys tuning in today. Be sure to like and share and subscribe. Share this as much as you can to get this word out. And, if you have any questions, just message me, jake@jakemerrickforgovernor.com. And also you can do Jake for the State. That's a little bit easier to type in sometimes, jakeforthestate@gmail.com. But I am headed out to go ride some horses this morning. So we have an invitation to go out to a local ranch and ride. So I'm taking my family out. We're going to enjoy a morning on horseback. So I'm looking forward to that. But hey, God bless you all. Spend some time with your family. Stay healthy. Stay in the Word of God. Stay in prayer. And I'll see you next time. God bless you.